What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. I'm a little under the weather today, but we're going to continue talking NFL draft tonight. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese. Give him a shout out on X at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. We're ready to talk a little prospects and directly how they result with the Eagles. And listen, just ready to keep this train rolling. We are about a month away from the draft, so let's go.
It's crazy, man. 1 month away. And also joining us, as always, he is Rob Langy. Give him a shout out on X at Philly Sport, Philly_Manis. What's up, man?
Gentlemen, nice to see you. I hope I could bring some more laughs like I did last week. It was certainly enjoyable, but also love talking prospects with you two specifically. To see what you guys think of some of the names that we're going to be talking about, and who might be putting the Eagles green on in a month.
Yeah, man. So what we're doing tonight, we have an entire list on offense and defense of NFL draft prospects that we know have met with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to tier rank them from S to F. Not all of them, but the big names, and go from there. So, guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to like. Please be sure to comment. Let's get it started. I'll throw it to you, Rob. We're going to start with offense. Here are some offensive players that the Eagles have met with. Is there any guys on this list that you would call an S tier?
I look at the wide receiver names, and I know you guys will probably talk about some of the offensive linemen. There's obviously a couple guys there. But a guy like Leggett from South Carolina really intrigues me when you talk about what the Eagles are looking for. I understand that they've signed a couple wide receivers, but I've heard a couple people say it, and I tend to agree. I feel like the Eagles boxed themselves in with limited numbers last year, and basically it was like Quez Watkins or nothing at the slot. And I really want to see a lot of bodies, and I want to see a couple young guys, not only for the slot, but I also look and say, A.J. Brown's going into year number 3 on his deal. He's probably not going to be here forever. You expect them to re-sign Devontae, but to me, I want them to continue to build that wide receiver room, and a kid that has really come on the scene, and I've heard you guys talk about him, and Leggett is somebody that really stands out to me on the offensive side of the ball.
Xavier Leggett for Rob. Ryan, any reaction to that? Because I have a take.
Yeah, listen, I think when you look at this list of offensive players that have met officially with the Eagles, he's the one that has to stand out to me. I think he's a guy that can come in and immediately be your wide receiver 3, and depending on how you handle the Devontae Smith extension, or maybe again potentially you want to save a little money, and maybe AJ Brown gets traded down the line. He's kind of a guy that you hope could easily kind of fit in a year or so down the road and be that 1-2 punch with whomever may be here, or you just have a 3-headed monster of great wide receivers. So I think if the Eagles are serious about upgrading their wide receiver 3, I think he's a great fit in the second round for the Birds, and I love the fact that we have officially going to be speaking with him.
Yeah, he's a guy that I've loved for a long time. He's a high riser. We have a comment here. Love your guys' content. Superb scouting. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. That's awesome. But I don't understand why people are so low on him. Mm-hmm. I get it's a historic wide receiver class, but this guy, I think he's closer to a top 5 wide receiver than he is outside of the top 10. I think he's a first-round pick. I think he's exactly what would thrive in a Kellen Moore system. Rob, I 1,000% agree. He is an S tier. Ryan, do you have a choice for S tier?
Listen, unfortunately, I don't. Not we're going to stick with the offense. I think, Leggett was the clear cut choice here, and I think the reason why perhaps he may not be so highly touted as maybe some other wide receivers is it this was really last year was really his first truly productive year. And again, I think perhaps people are wanting to see a little bit more. And again, you look at him on tape, and you clearly see the skill set. You clearly see the athleticism. But I honestly, if we get him around, it's a steal, and I'm going to be jumping from joy. But no, to answer your question long-windedly, no, I do not.
I do. I'm going to throw it on here. Jackson Powers Johnson. Sorry, Rob. It's a lineman. I don't know what your take is on a lineman.
For some reason, I did not see his name on the list officially.
Yes.
That's my fault. Then that's a clearly easy choice. Yeah. My bad.
I don't. Yeah. Listen, I'm not out here saying I think he's a bad player. I just don't. I'm going to go to the end of my life with. I really would rather them. Now, this is a guy that I think could play right away, so I'm not necessarily against that. All I want is my first round pick to play immediately. Like that's where I come at. But nah, go ahead, because you know more about me. But he seems like he's a home run.
Yeah, he's as our thing. All right, hold on. He's one of the more flawless prospects in this draft. Ridiculously high floor, guy that can thrive at center or right guard from day one. I think he would be right guard for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's versatile. He's got twitch. He's an animal. He's a dog that you'll love, Rob. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that really blew up at the Senior Bowl. He, again, is just another high riser like Leggett. That, to be honest, I think Leggett will be there for the Eagles in the first round. There's legit concern that Jackson Powers Johnson probably goes before the Eagles selection at number 22. But I think this would be one of those, like, not necessarily sexy selections for the Eagles, but he would be a 10-year starter for a long time.
Yeah, no, and that's my bad. I did not, for whatever reason, I missed his name on the list there. That's a clear, easy a choice here that I clearly whiffed on. I mean, this is the guy that I'm. The more and more I keep looking at, the more and more I keep seeing film on, the more and more I see him just be dominant, the more and more I want him as our right guard for the next 10 years. And I am perfectly okay with that selection as the 22nd pick, because I think a lot of the sexier names of maybe a Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold at corner, or maybe even Cooper DeJean, if that's what you fancy, I don't think they're going to be there, and I think there might be a slight chance that Jackson Powers is. They got to get through a few teams, but man, I think that would be a home run to grab him and just build on what is already a legendary offensive line under a legendary offensive coach.
Yep, I agree. I think it would be a really smart selection. Yeah. Comment, you guys break down film well. You always are straight to the point. Late sleeper is Trevor Keegan. Actually, I have not looked that guy up, so appreciate the rec. Got to check him out for sure.
Yeah, always love any chance to look up a guy I'm not too familiar with. So,
all right, here is more of the list here.
Yeah. Okay.
On offense, does anybody else have an S tier on this list?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is a guy that I debated as an A or an S, but I think the more and more I look at the need, and the more and more I think that it's a very realistic possibility that this could be a guy that the Eagles target, whether it be round one or round two. I think more likely round two, given this person. But I'm going to go with Cooper Beebe. Again, somebody that can come in, right guard, 10 years, book it. Like, this is a massive man. I absolutely just he just pops on film, and you just look at him. He's dominant. He's powerful. I think he would easily come in, and there would be no issues on that right side of the line. And yeah, I'd be listen, as much as I have my guys and people that I love at number 50 and number 53. If they end up going that route with Cooper Beebe at 50 or 53, I think again it's a slam dunk deal. And again, if you can come out of the first round with or second round with your starting right guard for the next 10 years or so, I call that a big win. So
yeah, there's a lot of like mock draft simulators out there that has Cooper Beebe falling to like round 3 or 4, and that's just not going to happen.
insanity. Yeah, that's the one thing I will say I try to avoid when I do mock drafts. Is some of those ones where he does fall to like pick 120, which is just not going to happen. But I have seen the I don't know if you speaking of I don't know if you've seen the Cooper draft where we draft Cooper DeJean in the first, Edgerrin Cooper in the second, and Cooper Beebe with the other second.
Love it. Love it.
Just triple down, get the hat trick of Coops, and let's go.
Can you imagine like screaming "Coop"
all day
long?
It's like the Spider-Man meme. Just you.
All right, let's roll on to. Are we all good with S tier? I don't have any more S tiers.
Yeah, now I'm done.
All right, I'll lead us off with an A tier. Another guy that is climbing up the draft board, and that's Ladd McConkey. He's a slot receiver. The Eagles kind of made some moves with Devontae Parker. Who's the dude from the Giants? I'm drawing a blank. He's a guy. But anyway, Ladd McConkey is pretty much a pure slot receiver prospect in this draft. Great route runner. He can do a variety of things for Kellen Moore at the next level. And, you know, is it a reach for day one? Absolutely. But he's getting a lot of talk there. But for an A tier, I think it's good value. I'm thinking like A tier, you know, second round. I would not hate the selection. I would like to see them go a different route or a different prospect available, or maybe a trade back. I love the trade back for the Philadelphia Eagles in many respects. But Ladd McConkey out of Georgia.
Yeah, I like him. He's kind of been slowly rising up draft boards, in my opinion. Of kind of just a guy that was maybe a fourth round, third round guy, and he's just slowly rising up. And I'm seeing him early second, and a lot of mocks that don't even have him coming to us or being available at number 50. So, yeah, I think this is definitely a guy that if available, and you know we end up going with that route, could easily come in and again just be a huge upgrade for the wide receiver 3 position. Which it seems like they're really trying to upgrade their wide receiver position in general, as they have certainly, in my opinion, done really well with wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 upgrades over last year. So I like it.
Yeah, I tell you, I do think the Eagles are going to address the wide receiver position early. Like, I don't think it's going to be like waiting till the 5th or 6th round. I think they'll surprise us. You know, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, they drafted Devontae Smith and they traded for AJ Brown. They're not going to keep No, I think that they are trying to build that room. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one of those 2 second round picks, if a guy's there that they really like, could go that route for sure.
All right. Rob, do you have an A tier?
Yeah, and you know, I have him as an A tier because I think you could get him later in the draft, and it's at a position of need, but it's also at a position where you're going to put him with a guy like Jeff Stoutland, and that's Zach Zinter of Michigan. And here's why. Okay, here's my thing. I know he broke his leg late in the year. I know he's probably, you know, got a nice little recovery ahead of him. But this guy was just full of accolades at Michigan. He comes from a winning pedigree. He's strong. He blocks well. He's right in that right guard position. And look, here's listen, I remember when they drafted Landon Dickerson and we all kind of sat and said, oh, the injuries and what's going to happen. You get Jeff Stoutland around guys that are just, maulers, and he turns them into really good pros. And the reason I have him so high on my list isn't necessarily that I think he's a first or second round pick. It's that because of the injury, you may be able to get him later and you still have your young right guard of the future, whether it be later this year or the following year, which I'm okay with a third or a fourth round pick, maybe not playing right away sometimes, especially when you have 3 in the first 2 rounds. So that's why I'm putting him there. It's not necessarily all about the talent. It's more the winning pedigree and the fact that you could get him a little bit later, and he could be the young guard of the future you're looking for.
Love it. Zach Zinter for Rob. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going to select a guy that it has to be in an A tier, even though I don't necessarily agree with the position of need for the Eagles. But that doesn't mean that the Eagles don't. And that's Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma, offensive tackle. I think this guy's truly a really good tackle. And again, would be a welcome, addition and an eventual Lane replacement. I just certainly think that we don't necessarily have the luxury of going that route, but as a prospect and as a possibility of being an Eagles first round selection, and just given his talent, I think it has to be an A tier.
Mm-hmm. I fully agree. Paris Campbell is the slot receiver from the Giants. I'm winning Ryan number one. I'm drafting Ryan Reese number 1. He's a stud Super Bowl or bust.
That's right, baby. Don't you forget
it. Michigan O-line is so nice. Sydney, ring a bell.
Yeah, but listen, you're right. At certain positions, it hasn't worked out. But I feel like when the Eagles draft offensive linemen, even if they have a little injury tag on them, I don't, it seems to work out. You know what I mean? And even like free agents, I remember when they signed Brandon Brooks, people were worried about Brandon Brooks' health. I mean, they know how to scout the offensive linemen. And if it's in the 3rd round, I'm always on board with an offensive lineman. If you're in the 3rd round, or even in the 2nd, if you have 2 picks, I get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else have an A tier? Going once, twice. I'll lead off the B tier. I'm going to go Roman Wilson out of Michigan.
That's who I was thinking.
I think Vlad McConkey's just a little bit better of a prospect, but I think Roman Wilson's like right below that.
Yeah.
In that next tier, Roman Wilson is a guy that's not going to break a lot of tackles. He's a guy that's just going to take what the defense gives him. But what the dude is good at and what he is elite at is separation, creating separation off the line. He's got elite twitch, elite acceleration. Absolutely nobody could keep up with him at the Senior Bowl, and that included Quinyon Mitchell, who's now arguably CB1 in this draft. He made him look like a fool. So Roman Wilson is a guy that will get open in the middle of the field, be that safety valve for Jalen. Give me Roman Wilson.
I like him. I think he had an impressive, a playoff, and honestly, I think he's a guy that is going to be a 2nd round selection now. He's had an impressive kind of draft season, so to speak. And yeah, he's a great bet. He's a great pick.
All right. Ryan, do you have a B tier?
I do. I'm going to stick with the offensive line, which is clearly my theme here. And I'm going to go with Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. He's a guy that, again, I think Yes, obviously played mostly center, but has some guard experience. And again, depending on, we all assume that we know exactly how the offensive line is going to look next year. But again, things can certainly change, and minds can certainly change as well. So I just think you look at his ability, you look at the fact that we above all else want to improve our lines constantly. And this is an easy choice for a guy that can come in, start right away at right guard if that's where you need him. If you decide to keep Jurgens at right guard and have him center, that's fine too. Even though, again, we all assume it's going to be the opposite. But yeah, I absolutely love this kid. Love the old Big East offensive lineman, even though Big East doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, I really do like Zach Frazier, and think he was one I debated whether or not to have an A tier as well.
Yeah, totally. I think he's underrated.
Yeah.
David says Roman Wilson's a good value pick. Good pick. Zach is a good center, and Zach is young and versatile. He can flex. Here's our list of guys the Eagles have met with so far. We'll probably redo this like closer to the draft. Maybe that'll be fun. Does anybody else have any B tiers? I have one I would like to throw out. Rob, do you have a B tier?
I don't. After your B tier, I have a question for you two gentlemen that I'm curious about. So go ahead.
All right. The one guy.
You go ahead, because I think I might have one too.
I would love to throw Dylan Laube in the B tier.
And my question is answered.
Nice.
Guys, we're just
my question was going to be: is there a running back that would put up in this B tier range? So there you go.
Yeah. So Dylan Laube is kind of another high. That's like the theme of the show. We should just keep saying that every time. But he's another high riser. He's one of the best receiving running backs in this draft. 33 touchdowns the last 2 years. He's while lining up at running back, receiver, and returner. This is a third down back. You got Saquon. He's going to be on the field a ton in 2024 and 2025. Lock that in. But if you need a guy that can be on the field in passing situations, he's an excellent route runner. Dylan Laube has some crazy numbers catching the football, and I mean, his targets per route run percentage of 24.3%. That was the best number among everyone at the running back position. This is the premier receiving threat at running back. So basically, I want him to replace Kenny Gainwell. That's kind of my plan. My objective.
I'll take one of you replacing Kenny Gainwell right now.
Me too, Rob. I'd have you out there in a heartbeat.
But I really like Dylan Laube. His tape is fun. He's not going to break a lot of tackles. He's not an elite athlete, but he's definitely a fun guy to watch. Dylan Laube.
Right. Yeah, I like him. So I am going to add one final one to the B tier. Again, I clearly have a theme here going, and that is offensive tackle at the University of Houston. That's Patrick Paul. I think this guy is going to be a second round pick. Again, I think if the Eagles don't want to spend, that first round pick on the Lane replacement, I think Paul could certainly be an option in the second round if they decide to go that route. If they truly, decide they need to have a high draft pick, to replace Lane, whether it be next year or the year after that. This is a big guy. So he certainly would, kind of come in and I think, give him a year, at least a year under Stoutland. And I think that probably is going to be enough to really get him into replacing Lane Johnson's shape, if you will. Because the guy is certainly raw. He's a big guy. He's powerful, but you need some fine tuning, and I think what better way than kind of sit under the best right tackle and the best offensive line coach for a year. So I think it's something that Eagles fans need to sadly get their hands wrapped around and realize that a tackle might be in the cards for early picks.
For sure. For sure. All right. Patrick Paul out of Houston. Anybody else have any B tiers?
I'm done. I think I ran out of offensive linemen to talk about.
All right. Going as fast as I can here. All right. Let's roll on to C tier. Ryan, do you have a C tier?
I do. And I'm going to get off of my offensive line love for some odd reason, at least for right now. I do have a C tier that I'm eventually going to talk about. But that is a running back out of Kentucky, Ray Davis. This is a guy I really like. I think he's certainly being slept on in the grand scheme of things. There's obviously not a top end talent in the running back class this year. So I think there's a lot of guys that are kind of in that middle, of the road. And I feel like Ray Davis kind of gets maybe lost in the shuffle of that first or second tier of guys. But I truly believe that he can, day three, come in and again be a very good replacement, hopefully for Kenny Gainwell, as we all clearly want that to happen. And yeah, I just think I like what he puts on tape, and I'm interested in seeing more of what he can do at the next level.
I thought he was one of the winners of the combine. Him and Marshawn Lloyd. They're two bigger backs, and I thought they ran really well.
You know how Eagles fans love the bigger back theory.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw Brendan Rice on this list. Yet another slot kind of guy. He's an elite athlete. A guy that probably could be a target for the Birds sometime in that day 3, day 4 range. Brendan Rice for me. What about you, Rob? Any C tiers?
I mean, let's be real here, gentlemen. This is this is where I start to struggle. So the only reason I would put anybody else from the offense on this list isn't even about talent. It's because it needs to happen to right the wrong by his father years ago, where he signed for 5 minutes, left us. Frank Gore Jr. needs to be a Philadelphia Eagle, damn it. Just because. There's no other reason. Just because his father made a mistake years ago.
All right, putting Frank Gore Jr. as a C tier. Are we good?
Can I add one more to the C tier?
Yeah.
I'd like to add Christian Rich Mahogany from Boston College, offensive lineman. Is going to play guard most likely, but kind of has been versatile throughout his college career. Quite honestly, I originally only liked him because of his last name was Mahogany. And then I actually looked into him, and I like his style, honestly.
Oh my God! If they drafted a guy like that, I'd have Ron Burgundy signs all over the place.
What do you mean signs? Everybody would be dressed up like Ron Burgundy, including potentially me.
Yeah.
All right, we are chugging along here. I'm gonna, now that we're in like D tier or lower, I'm gonna throw a guy out there that I want on the F tier. It is what it is. I in no way do I think he's an NFL quarterback.
I knew this was coming.
I think he stinks. Absolutely stinks. Sam Hartman out of Notre Dame. There's no way he's getting drafted. Yeah, that would be the surprise of the draft for me. I've watched a lot of Sam Hartman. He is so overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put him at F.
I mean, listen, if we put in Hartman at F, I mean, there is Spencer Rattler is technically on this list, and you have to have him above Sam Hartman, right?
Oh, I wouldn't be upset at Spencer Rattler whatsoever.
No.
As like a day 3 guy.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
least Spencer Rattler has tools.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
The Eagles, there's no doubt the Eagles are drafting a quarterback because why not have 6 in the room?
Yeah.
There's
I know, right? It felt like every other day last week they were like signing some
Oh my God.
rando quarterback. I'm like,
I didn't even know who the hell Will Greer was. I was like, what
no,
is happening here?
please. His parents didn't even know he was an NFL quarterback. I mean, for the love of God.
All right. Does anybody have any like negative grades? Like you do not want the Eagles to draft before we go to defense.
Oh man, I don't know if I hate anybody that much to tell them they're a negative grade. I mean, there's some guys on here that I'm like, it's a guy, he might not even be drafted, but again, you got to do your due diligence across the board, right?
Yeah. All right. So there's our offense.
Let's go.
Poor Sam Hartman, but it is what it is. Let's roll on to defense in this one.
Can we just put Can we just put one guy an S and none of us have to we've been talking about him for months.
Yeah. Lead us off, Rob.
I mean, look, it's looking more and more like a pipe dream. Okay. That's not going to happen because he's probably not falling to 50 or 53. Okay. But Edgerrin Cooper is the guy we've all been waiting for as Philadelphia Eagles fans, maybe our entire lives. I mean, honestly, when it comes to that linebacker position, because it's like, look, the last linebacker that made a true difference, I don't know, like Trot was a different type of leader, right? He was a different type of guy. We all love Jeremiah Trotter. You saw him even this week. He feels he's so big to this town that if his own son was drafted to the Dallas Cowboys, he wouldn't wear a Dallas jersey. But Edgerrin Cooper is a game changer at the linebacker position. If the Eagles were ever going to break their not taking linebackers early in the draft, this is the type of guy that I would want them to do it for. He's bigger than what you have here, right? He's got a little bit more size than these other guys you have here, which I feel like they're going to need at some point. You can't just have a bunch of small linebackers out there. I just think it's a home run at a position where you need somebody. It's not only a luxury, it's a need. It's a little bit, and it's the best player available, most likely. So it checks all your boxes. Edgerrin Cooper, in my opinion, even though I know it won't happen, should really be heavily considered. I know this is crazy. At 22, I would heavily consider it. I would absolutely heavily consider it. Even if you trade back a few picks, whatever, I would heavily consider him round 1. Edgerrin Cooper is the guy that I would flip a table over, enjoy if they drafted Edgerrin Cooper. And I'll do it live on the stream draft night if they draft Edgerrin Cooper.
Love it. Yes.
Let's go.
I think that's like one of my favorite scenarios, period. Like if they miss out on Quinyon or even Nate Wiggins or any of the top flight defensive backs, trade back, get Edgerrin Cooper, and let's frickin' roll, baby. That's a fun situation. I'm gonna just throw this out there. Quinyon Mitchell is obvious. He probably won't even be there now. That's how far he is climbing. It's been a meteoric rise for that dude. Arguably the most balanced cornerback in this draft when it comes to playmaking, run defense, tackling, coverage. He really does it all and was just a monster at the Combine and the Senior Bowl. I'll throw Quinyon Mitchell there. Ryan, do you have any S tiers?
I mean, listen, there's a lot of guys on this list that I really do love. But again, the S tiers is, again, supposed to be something special. And I think we picked the 2 best guys that there are for the S tier. So I'm going to hold my next round of gentlemen to the A tier.
Okay. Let me skim the list real quick. I'm going to throw this guy out there, and he's definitely a divisive topic of conversation. It's Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. Versatility. Is he an outside corner? Is he more of a nickel guy? Is he a guy that will thrive better, at the line of scrimmage? He can do a lot of different things, whether it's at cornerback or safety or slot, nickel. Cooper DeJean, I've seen his stock as high as top 10.
Yeah.
I've seen him at number 22. I have no idea where evaluators truly see him going, but the dude is a legit playmaker. Yeah, I get why a lot of people are out on it. I get it, but he's a football player, and the Eagles need guys that can defend the run, thrive in coverage. I think he's just a very good prospect. Cooper DeJean, I'm going to throw an S tier.
Oh, you're going to throw him an S? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I got to be honest. The more I've looked at him, I'll be honest, and this is just so stereotypical, but I thought he was super small until I actually looked, and I was like, he's actually not super small. he's actually a decent size. It was just straight stereotyping. I'm not even going to try and defend myself for it. I'm ashamed. I'm honestly ashamed of myself.
All right, Cooper DeJean. Let's put this out there. Does anybody else have any other S tiers? All right, let's roll on to A. Ryan, lead us off. What's your A?
All right. Well, listen, just because I love my linebackers, I'm going to start with a linebacker, and that's Peyton Wilson.
Nice.
Linebacker of NC State. I think this guy would be right up there with with Edge. If it maybe not for his injury history and potentially his age. He's a little bit older than some of the other prospects, but the talent wise, I mean, this guy is an absolute just baller. Honestly, he's everywhere. He's great in the run. He's great at rushing the quarterback. He can do a little bit of coverage as well. Listen, I think he would be absolutely loved here if we were able to get him. And honestly, I don't know where to expect him either. I've seen him sneaking into round one. I've seen him, being there, for both our picks in the second round, sliding to the end of the second. So he's definitely somebody that had himself a pretty good Senior Bowl week. Didn't actually play, but still a very talented guy that I would love to have on the Eagles.
All right. What about you, Rob?
Well, look, I think as the days go on here, it's looking more and more likely like Hassan Reddick may not be back with the Eagles, which I disagree with it. But if that's the case, you're going to need more bodies in there. And we know the Eagles like to draft edge rushers. They're not going to shy away from it early. Maybe a Laiatu Latu from UCLA, is on the board there. I look at him, and he's got good size. He can rush the passer. He needs a little bit of work on the run game, no doubt about it. But once again, you can't have enough bodies at that position. And if you're getting rid of Reddick, that means you're left with just Graham, Sweat, and Huff. Really, for all intents and purposes, I guess the kid from the Saints may be considered an edge rusher as well. But I think this guy would move right in. I think he moves right in. He becomes a rotational edge and, can make some big plays for you.
That's a great pick. Like out of all this, like I want it to be clear, like when we're sitting here, like getting ready for the draft, the Eagles are getting close to being on the clock. In the first round with high picks, like you always, at least in my opinion, you always go BPA. If Laiatu Latu has the best chance of being just a wrecker at the edge, a guy that can also, be a 3-down guy and stop the run. You just do it. You just do it. And he's a monster. He's a monster.
Could not agree.
Ryan says Eagles need guys who can cover, not just ball hog players who intercept passes like Asante and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but can't play man-to-man coverage too when interceptions are happening. Marshawn Lynch likes the Laiatu Latu pick. Move up for Jared Verse. All right. I'm going to throw
Do it. Just do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. I'm going to throw a guy that I don't know if you've heard of him, Rob, but his name is Darius Robinson. He's another edge defender out of Missouri.
I knew it.
Did you really?
Oh, I knew that's exactly where you were going with. 'Cause if you weren't, I was.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But he's a monster. 6'5", great length, elite athlete. Again, this is coming from someone who overvalues probably way too much the Senior Bowl and things like that, but he was unblockable. He looked incredible. He's a prospect who started out as an interior defensive lineman, and then last year played edge and was dominant. And we know how he loves these guys that can be inside, outside kind of threats. He's a guy that thrives at stopping the run. He's raw as a pass rusher, but I think that versatility is huge. And I think he's definitely in that conversation for being a first-round draft selection.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So here's why I heard of him. Because for Missouri's Pro Day, it's who the Eagles actually sent down there. And I believe they sent their defensive line coach. I want to think it, and their secondaries coach, obviously, because of the corner out there. So, look, when you're talking about guys in the trenches, you could probably put every guy that was on the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman edge in the A tier when it comes to the Eagles mindset, because you know where they focus their attention. They focus their attention in the trenches. They're always going to do it. So, absolutely. And this guy, once again, you're going to need bodies at the edge position if you're letting Reddick walk. So if Reddick's gone, expect, probably a first-round edge rusher. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and I'd be all right with that. I think for me, Latu and Verse are probably my top guys that if they go edge, I would love in the first round. I think Robinson's probably one of those trade back situations, but still, I wouldn't mind having a kid like that on the team. So
yeah, the only reason I don't like this selection, obviously, he's very raw, and he's strong, but he's raw. And I don't know how many snaps he would get year one. He would try to learn a lot, like under Milton Williams, a guy that can play inside, outside as well. He would kind of be that apprentice under Milton, because he's not coming back probably after. I would be shocked if they extend him. But it is what it is. Darius Robinson's a very good prospect. So comments here. Rufus chimes in. I'm late. I'm sure you talked to him, but as long as we can leave it to Gene, I'll be a happy fat man. At least, Marshawn, according to this list, they have not met with Chop Robinson. So I don't know if they did or not.
We're only talking about prospects that have officially met with the Philadelphia Eagles, whether it be Senior Bowl, Combine, or setting up, top 30s.
And that could all change, right? Because they still got a lot of top 30s that they can add. What are they? I think they're at 15s, 14.
Yeah, I wouldn't know off the top of my head.
Something like that.
They still got some to add.
Yeah. So, they could absolutely add some of these guys that people are bringing up.
Yep. Anybody else have any other A tiers?
As much as I would want to, I gotta save them for the B.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Lead us off, Ryan. Who's your B tier?
All right. Now, listen. I'm only going to say this person's name because of his name, and not because of the prospect that he is, but just in the amount of fun and just overall joy Eagles fans would get if we were ever to draft this man. And of course, I'm talking about cornerback Storm Duck.
I don't
know about you, but I would immediately go out and get a Duck jersey. Don't care. That's a name that you need a jersey for.
So Marshawn says trot. That's literally where my head was going when you were saying that. But according to our list,
He's not on there.
He's not on the list. Yeah. No,
Do they have to talk to him?
Obviously,
Do
I'm
they
kidding.
have to talk to Trot?
No, they don't. They talk through Trot Senior, so I don't need.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, because I know you don't have a graphic for Storm Duck. I will say I'll put my boy on there. I still have faith in him. I still think he's going to be a very productive safety, and that's Cameron Kitchens out in Miami. I know he has fallen given his combine fiasco, given his RAS score that plummeted. But listen, I know what I see with my eyes, and I know I have not seen that low level of athleticism in Cameron Kitchens, and I still think I would take him in the second round. I still think he would come in and absolutely be able to become a starter. And hey, listen, Marshawn might be right. Maybe he continues his slide and we grab him at 120. I don't know. I think he's probably maybe fallen himself into maybe end of second, early third, but
Yeah.
Who knows where people have. I'm sure there are people that have him completely off their board. So I get it. He done effed up, but I don't care. I know what I see, and I know he is going to be a very good safety in this league.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off of that. I want to throw Javon Bullard to the beach.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go with next.
Yep.
A little bit about Javon Bullard. He was Georgia's slot nickelback in 2022. Was put up elite numbers, and then Kamari Lassiter came in. Lassiter went to the slot, the nickel role, and then Javon Bullard played safety in 2023 and looked really good as well. So he's a guy that can do a lot of different things as a defensive back. The guy is just a football player, and he's Georgia. He's got to be on this list. Got to be.
Yeah.
Give me Javon Bullard.
Georgia versatility at the safety position. Definitely what the Eagles like. I'm going to stick with safety, and I'm going to go Cole Bishop from Utah. A little bit different type of player. He's a bigger guy, but listen, man, Utah does a good job of getting professionals in the league who play well. And I think Cole Bishop could be another one. I think he's a guy. I mean, what's he 6'2", 206, I think. I read somewhere. So, I listen, I think the Eagles have to add a safety. I think they're talking right now. They have 6 or 7 talks already scheduled at the position. And I think any one of these 3 guys, I think could play right away for this team. And I know people go, yeah, but what about Cindy Brown when he gets back? Well, that's one safety position. Once again, this is a position that you have to stop leaving the cupboard bare and then sitting there in week 8 going, oh, shit, who's going to play safety for us? So why not stack it up with another guy? And I think any one of these 3 guys would be good football players for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Cole Bishop earned a lot of money at the combine. I personally did not know he was that athletic, and he had some great numbers.
Well, he was pretty highly ranked before the season, and I remember us having a show about it and talking about Cole Bishop, and I just think he didn't necessarily have the greatest of years, but yeah, his athleticism jumped off the page, and yeah, he had a great combine, and again, I think he definitely got himself back into maybe a conversation of getting into day 2.
Marshawn says Kitchens and CJ is a lot of swagger. Kitchens and Newman are going to be studs. Says Rufus. Marshawn says Bullard and CJ would be rich at safety. That'd be awesome with Reed as a third safety rotating in. I love it. Did Eric Rowe come out of Utah? I don't remember.
Yes, he did. But guess what? All right, this is ridiculous. You could take one guy from every school across the country and say, "Oh, so and so came out of there." Who was the damn quarterback that came out of Alabama who was like a stud and then couldn't get on the field? Was it AJ McCarron? I mean, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Every school's got bad ones. It doesn't mean that every player after them is going to be bad. Okay.
Wait, are you certain?
I'm certain.
Okay. Okay.
I'm certain. Just like everyone that comes out of a school that was good doesn't mean everyone after him will be good.
Got it.
Unless your name is Justin Jefferson, then everyone should have drafted Justin Jefferson.
Right.
All right. Ryan says, what players fit what I just mentioned above? Not just ball hog interception guys. Quinyon Mitchell is definitely one of those guys. A guy that you are not going to like is Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is a pure cover guy, like Asante, just ridiculously athletic, but does not tackle. And he's a guy that will really struggle against the run. There are some other guys that are like top of like round 2, like Ennis Rakestraw. The guy that's very, very solid.
He's rising it.
Kamari Lassiter is one of them as well. Definitely get to know Kamari. Just seems to be always around the football. Marshawn says we need a pure cover guy. I'm surprised they haven't met with Kalen Bullock out of USC, who is again another elite athlete at 6'3" and a great cover safety.
Yeah,
and
didn't
he's
have
not on this list,
but yeah.
So Rufus says if we drafted Wiggins, we might have the worst tackling cornerbacks in the league. We're at what? Where are we at? Let's go to C tier. Anybody have C tiers?
Oh wait, did we do B?
Did we do B?
I don't think we did B. Not for the defense.
Yeah, we just got done with B.
Did we?
Ryan, where are you today?
Dude, I don't know.
We just got done with B. We had Cole Bishop.
I don't even know what day it is. Oh yeah, you're right. All right. Well, then I want to add one more because I can't put this gentleman in the C tier, the lowly C tier. And I'm going to another linebacker, and that's Cedric Gray, linebacker out of North Carolina, who had himself quite the draft off season. Very good a very good Senior Bowl the week leading up, and had a great game. And it really kind of stole the show. And he had a very decent combine as well. And I honestly think he would be an amazing selection. Probably just maybe not for us. Unfortunately, I think he kind of falls after our second rounders and before we pick again. So unless Howie's got some, magic moves he's going to do. But I just absolutely fell in love with him at the Senior Bowl, Cedric Gray.
There is no way I believe that Howie Roseman won't somehow get a 3rd round pick in this draft.
I mean, you're probably right. Not gonna lie.
And my guess is he's going to take one of the 2s and push it back and try and get a 3rd rounder that way.
Oh no, but I love so many second rounders.
I know. I agree with you, but this is how he may he may have it at the back end of the 2nd round, but get a 3rd to move back that far.
I want 17 second round picks.
Yes.
Ryan, remember the show we did when Miles Cole's dad joined the chat?
Oh yes. Yeah, we have a lot of fatherly love. Speaking of Darius Robinson's father, loved a video about his son. Cooper Beebe's dad, again, another one that just that was showing us some love after a video talking about Cooper. And yeah, Miles Murphy was literally in the chat himself, his father. That was pretty cool. So
how about the name that like pops off of this is Tavondre Sweat, defensive tackle out of Texas, who's probably a 2-down player. He's like a Jordan Davis essentially. He's a nose tackle. He's a run stuffer. He's big. He's not nearly as athletic as Jordan Davis. but he's on there, and it makes me think.
Yeah, listen, I think a lot of people are making a big deal about, the Fletcher Cox snaps, if you will, where they're going to go. And yeah, while we do have a lot of young, talented players at the D tackle position, a lot of people are saying that don't put it out of the realm of possibility that we go ahead and get an early D tackle. And yeah, I think if maybe one of the top two guys, the first rounders, if you will, don't fall to us at 22, we can certainly make a play at maybe one of those guys in the second round. And yeah, I'm not really sure where Sweat falls in that realm right now, because yeah, I thought he had a good 40 time. I thought he moved all right, but there were some of the drills that he kind of looked a little lethargic, a little slow. So I don't know. I want to say third round, but I could see him sneaking into the second, honestly.
I would rather draft Byron Murphy
Yeah.
without question
Yeah.
than Andre Sweat, who's a much better player.
Yeah,
which
much
I'm-
better.
So it's kind of shocking that Tavondre Sweat is on there.
Right.
Not as athletic as Davis. He'll get 9 tackles a season. Does anybody have any other
Damn.
seats?
I am now we're relinquishing my time to the two
Yeah.
geniuses above me at this point, because
Yeah.
at this point in the draft, you guys know more than I do. And by the way, I will just say, right now it's Milton Williams and the two youngsters at the D tackle, and then I guess you have what's his name, who kind of so the Eagles are going to add another. They added the Mustafa kid, or what was his name? I
PJ
can't remember.
Mustafa. Yeah, we got it.
So there's going to be camp battles there, because they're not going to just give it to a couple of these other guys. They're going to make them battle it out.
Yeah.
They want 4. They want 4 at least.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. So, yeah, I have 2 corners that I would like to add to the next to bring to the C tier, and that's Jarvis Brownlee Jr.,
Slot guy.
corner out of Louisville, and Nehemiah Pritchett, corner out of Auburn. These are guys again that are going to be a little bit later on in the draft, but I still think can come in and provide value. It's a very busy room for the Eagles as far as corner goes, so there's certainly room for somebody to stand out and kind of take those snaps, because to be perfectly honest, I feel like there's a lot of guys that just kind of are in that middle, and it's like, all right, well, let's throw Job out there now. Oh well, he didn't do good. Let's throw Rex out there. Oh boy, he didn't do so good. Let's throw Zick McPherson, like whoever. You know what I mean? Like these are all just guys to me. So why not add a couple more guys and see one of these guys become a guy? That's all.
Become the guy.
Yeah.
I like the Pritchett pick. That's where I was going to go. I think it would be kind of interesting. It would be competition, essentially, for Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks on the outside, because I think Pritchett projects best out there. He's got great measurables, 6'1", great length, great athlete. Brownlee, I think they're in the red. Definitely will be more of a slot guy, nickel guy.
Yeah.
But that's a good one as well. Looking at the list, are there any guys you don't like?
Again, it's hard for me to not like, and also like I feel like I feel like I missed a bunch of people.
Where are you at with Kalen King? Because I'm shocked they met with him.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's a good one. Throw him down an F tier. You're done, son. You done messed up, AA Ron. You had every chance in the world to become a top corner in this draft, or at least fool people enough into thinking that, and pay yourself a lot of money. But every step along the way, you burnt like toast. and you looked horrible. So you're not even getting drafted at this point. In fact, 2 of your cornerback teammates are probably going to get drafted, and you will not. So talk about F tier. You F'd yourself right out of the draft.
Yeah, he probably doesn't get drafted.
No.
But yeah, that's the only one I could really say I do not want the Eagles to touch because he's just not an athlete.
No. Listen. If you want to bring him in undrafted free agent, let him prove himself. Maybe he humbles himself and gets himself to work, whatever. But I will say there are people I feel like I need to have somewhere, and I feel like having them even in D is probably too low. But just again, you do with whatever you want. You throw them on the board. You don't. I don't care. But Marshawn Nealon, the edge out of Western Michigan, he's rising up. He's a name to certainly watch for sure. Who's the other guy I was looking at? Adisa Isaac. I don't know how we forgot about him. He should not be, he should be somewhere higher than D for sure. And I think that was the 2 that I had that I just had to mention at least. And then of course Storm Duck, which I'm still
Storm Duck
on the board with. Let's go. Quack quack. Can you imagine if he just turns into an amazing player and it's just the whole stadium just starts quacking?
If it was going to happen anywhere, it would be here. It would absolutely be here.
You know it.
People would be so excited.
Oh, yeah, what is this, man? Who was talking about somebody hating somebody?
Wow.
I get maybe not liking a guy, but
it's interesting. They did not meet with Chop, but they met with Adisa Isaac.
Very interesting.
Is really interesting considering Chop is one of the most analytically loved edge rusher in this draft, just like Nolan Smith was 2 years ago. So it's kind of interesting. Both guys very raw, both guys elite athletes at attacking, getting off the line, all that kind of stuff. My favorite comment of the day: Ducks fly together.
Dude, they put the flying V in the Vic Fangio's defense. It would work in so many different ways.
Right? How does it not? It worked every single time.
You got Vic Fangio running the flying V defense. Oh my God, it's a match made in heaven.
The T-shirt sales alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Coach V's flying V. I like it. I'm in.
Oh my God.
We would have so much fun with it. You know what, damn it? Put him in the A tier. I want
put him in. Let's go.
No, I'm not doing it.
Put a picture of a duck in there. Let's go.
Cole Bishop is listed there, Rudy Poo, under the B tier. All right. We're an hour. Let's close it up. But there's our experiment. Some solid guys to know here as we get ready for the draft. It is almost April. It is almost NFL draft month. It is crazy that it's here. But Rob, final thoughts, plugs, time's yours.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to be talking about this draft now for another month. I do want to say we haven't talked about them recently because it's been a lot more football-related stuff. Kudos to the 76ers yesterday with that effort they put out there on the floor. And to do it and to beat James Harden, it's just that much sweeter. So kudos to those Philadelphia 76ers. You could find me being a little more active these days in the Twitter sphere at Philly_madness. Coming back, getting ready to really get fired up and go after some people. And, hopefully some more things are coming. But outside of that, right here with my 2 favorite guys on Party on Broad every week, you can find me.
Thanks, Rob. Ryan, final thoughts, plugs.
I would just like to say I'm starting to think that Mr. Rudy Poo might be Mitch in disguise. Just saying, the similarities are starting to
I
get
mean,
a little-
everybody's in the F tier for him. We're probably in the F tier.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, listen, got shows throughout the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, whatever days. I'm here, I'm there, I'm at Walmart, you name it. But yeah, listen, all you gotta do is just YouTube, Edge of Philly Sports, subscribe, put on those automatic notifications. That way, every single show that we got, every time we go live after a Sixers game or a Phillies game or a Flyers game, or every time you see one of our beautiful faces, what's up, Phil? Yeah, listen, you'll know about it before everybody else does. So, please do yourself a favor, do that. Also, this guy over here, all the draft stuff. This guy down here, wherever I am, I keep forgetting I'm mirrored, so my directions are always off.
Yes.
But yeah, listen, if you guys follow those guys, you'll be absolutely entertained throughout your day with not only great sports talk, but funny stuff as well.
We can't say goodbye to this episode without saying the tush push lives
Oh
for
yeah,
one more year.
One
There
more
we
year,
go.
boys. Love it.
It's amazing how a team loses 5 of their last 6 and no one cares about the damn tush push anymore.
Yep.
Exactly. Thanks for joining, Phil.
Yeah.
Rudy Poo says fake Tobias game doesn't fool him.
Send him to the moon.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, thank you everyone for watching. Scouting pretty much everyone but Storm Duck. Guys that we've covered tonight. You can find scouting reports on the channel. Although I just might have to make one with like Mighty Ducks music.
Let's go. I need to be a part of that, by the way.
But so good. All right, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. Rob Lange under there at Philly_Madness. Tomorrow night we'll be back for Birds of the Round Table. Not sure what we're talking about. We'll figure it out. Just a lot of Eagles stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching. For Ryan, for Rob, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.